Welcome into the Triple Play Fantasy Football Show. Hit that intro. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the podcast. Welcome into another episode of the Triple Play Fantasy Football Show, a proud member of Fantasy Points and the Fantasy Points Media Group. Make sure you guys check out fantasypoints.com. It's that time of the season. It is fantasy playoffs times. And if you are still playing at this point in the season and you have not used this offer, using code TriplePlay22 on their website, 10% off. You get access to all the great tools over on fantasypoints.com. I'm talking DFS stuff. I'm talking rankings. I'm talking the stats you can't find just on Twitter, with some of the best out there in the game analyzing football over at Fantasy Points. So again, Triple Play 22 gets you 10% off the rest of the season there. So if you're still playing and you want that edge over your league mates, go ahead and check them out. I promise you will not regret that. Tonight, you are back with us. Semifinals. Of course, the Brashstradamus is here. No Doc, no Johnny Foosball. We have a special guest I will introduce in a second. Brashstradamus, me and you are both no longer part of the Scott Fish Bowl. Very sad that we couldn't take anybody from the show into the semis, but good season nonetheless.
Yeah, we got knocked out of the semis, and my Washington Commanders got robbed. So it was just a bad weekend altogether.
It was. What was your cutoff? How far were you off the cutoff for the Scott Fish Bowl?
I didn't even look, to be honest. I knew I was at like 700 something going into the week, and then my whole entire team just pooped the bed. I had I think 100 points total this week, so I knew there was no chance. I didn't even look it up. It was bad.
The QB injuries caught up for sure.
Yeah,
I had a great regular season. I was inside the top 200, and there's 3,000 people that compete. And then the playoffs, my team stunk every week of the playoffs, but my high scoring average from the season kept me basically until the last round. And started out with Patrick Mahomes and Kirk Cousins and Jalen Waddle and these guys. I'm like, oh, I'm definitely getting in the top 500. And then sure enough, you got Deonta Foreman, pooped the bed. Darius Slayton cost me $10,000 and pooped the bed for my Scott Fish Bowl team. It was miserable regardless. But Jacob Dunn of Triple Play will be going to the semifinals, so make sure you guys check him out. He was, I think, in the top 5 this past week. He's trying to bring home the title for us, so make sure you guys follow him if you aren't already at Ain't Done Yet, DUNNE. Our special guest tonight, if you're watching on video, I've waited long enough to introduce this man. You've definitely seen him in the fantasy baseball world, but my man is making waves also in the fantasy football space. He is the co-owner of Gaining the Edge, which is fantasy football and fantasy baseball, where they give you all the nicks and knacks of each one of those fantasy sports. He's also a fantasy football and baseball analyst for The Athletic. He's host of the Bases Loaded pod, an FSWA award finalist, and loser of 60 pounds and counting. He is the one and only Mike Curlin. What's up, man?
You could have just ended at loser, and people would have probably agreed and understood. I appreciate it, man. Yeah, fantasy football. I know what I'm talking about once in a while. I just don't have that type of. We talked about a little bit. I'm trying to get in there a little bit, and that's why I do it on the YouTube now. The Gaining the Edge YouTube has kind of become my new pet project to kind of bridge that gap into the fantasy football world. So if that's what you're interested in, check that out. I have a new video dropping in about an hour. Actually,
why don't you tell us really quick about Gaining the Edge a little bit? Who's involved? What you guys do? Just for people that have never heard of it, that can make sure they can check it out.
Well, to be completely honest, it is very fantasy baseball focused right now. I am going to push for fantasy football content starting next year, though. It involves me, Bubba, which is BDentric on Twitter, SP Streamer, aka Michael Simeone, the man who likes to pee in pools, and then George Montanez. George and I go. He's been my best friend since we started this. We started everything together, Bases Loaded. He's a guy that actually likes dynasty football side of things, and we actually have a Discord. It's a Patreon, patreon.com/GTE Fantasy, letters GTE. For Gaining the Edge, obviously. And George and I, we hop into the chat. We have a Discord and again, fantasy baseball is the focus, but we had fantasy football talk going on in there as well. So it's been a lot of fun. It's been a nice little thing we just started doing a couple months back, kind of finally bringing all the forces together after all these years of always, you meet these people, we hang out, we talk, and it just finally worked out into a partnership.
I love it. Yeah, it's great people. I know I got a lot of them. People for football might not know all the guys that Mike just said, but they're great in the fantasy baseball space, and they're going over to the fantasy football side too. So if their analysis is as good for fantasy baseball, you will definitely love it for fantasy football. I can promise you that. We are bringing Mike on tonight.
Baseball season.
It is.
I mean, you got to get in early.
It never sleeps. We are bringing Mike on tonight for some football talk. So Mike, we always start out each week talking about our wow moment, and that being from like the previous week. So wow moment from week 15. There's so many different directions. It could be fantasy related. It could be real life related. What is the wow moment from you from week 15?
Well, there's two that come to mind, so I'm going to take two of them. So sorry, guys, but I got it. Well, it's just they're the instant wow moments. First, you know what? I'll take one because the other one hurt as a Dolphins fan. So you can talk about Josh Allen if you want to, but Justin Fields is just incredible as an athlete. Yeah, I think the quarterback side of things will come sooner than later for him. I do, because you see the big playability, you see the big arm. He has the potential to be a good quarterback, but what he does every week in, week out with those legs and the playmaking ability, it makes you stop what you're doing, go look up the video to watch the highlight if you didn't watch it live. Not many players offer that, and that's why the other guy was, I mentioned, he who shall not be named over there in Buffalo, because he did it to Miami, and that's just aggravating as a Miami Dolphins fan. But this is the first year I've had hope in years as a fan, so can't get too mad, I guess.
Dolphins have been on fire, so I definitely can understand the frustration. But let's answer Marcus's question real quick. He said he lost Jalen Hurts, and he's got Brady, Goff, Purdy, and Minshew as available options. Mike, where would you go in this situation? I mean, losing Jalen Hurts at this point is just monumental in terms of the pain that you're going to feel in the semifinals. Who helps ease that pain?
Oh, man, it really comes down to matchup here. So let me pull up the matchups for next week. Panthers feel
Jared?
like, yeah, that's what I'm saying. You get Panthers for Goff, and then but the Cardinals for the Bucks. I don't know. Brady, we saw him actually have a good game this week. I'm going to go Brady just because I think he's going to exploit the Cardinals defense a little bit more, but I also think he's going to try to make a statement because I think he wants to shut everyone up. Brady. If there's a competitor in this game, it's Brady. And I think Brady has that. I think he just brings that this week. And I do like Goff. I like both those guys. Those are the top two. Really pick your preference there. But Brady's where I'm going because I really do think he's going to make a point and a statement this week, or at least try to.
The matchups, just for those that might not know top of their head, Detroit is going to Carolina. So you get road Jared Goff, which is definitely not the same appeal as home Jared Goff.
Yeah.
In terms of the Bucks, they are going against, I believe,
the Cardinals. I think they're also going to Arizona. So they're both away teams, which I do hate streaming away quarterbacks. But when you're talking about what Purdy and Minshew as the other two guys, I think Purdy is like a decent high floor play. Minshew is largely unproven, but we've seen flashes, but it's still more of a gimmick. It feels like than something you should be doing over these names. That's why Brady's the one that sticks out to me this week. And good mention on the Goff on the away thing because Goff away from Detroit is a different.
Purdy at home against the Commanders, your Commanders, Brad, and then obviously Minshew going in Jerry world. Where are you going with this one?
I actually lean Minshew. The way I look at it is away Goff. That's not my favorite version of Goff, even though he's had an incredible year. On top of that, they're probably going to have the lead in that game, so that's a very negative passing script for that. Purdy, I like. But if I'm going against Purdy and Minshew, really, it's Minshew's been in this system for 2 years now. He's got better weapons and AJ Brown and Devonta Smith. Goddard might be back as well. He also has rushing upside, which we can't forget, similar to Hurts, which is why he makes a perfect backup for him. So I like Minshew a lot. He's a great way to kind of, I don't know, maybe you get 70 to 80% of Hurts' production, and I think that'll do the job for you, especially in DFS.
So if I remember correctly, Gardner Minshew played last year against the Dallas Cowboys.
He did.
And I remember, and I'm trying to remember what the stats he put up in that game. I'm actually looking at, and in terms of you're looking for guys, maybe not world on fire, he could give you 10, maybe anywhere like 10 to 90 points. I feel like Minshew's a lot for that floor. You look at in Brock Purdy's situation, right? He's got Deebo Samuel if he's healthy, but he's got Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle, and Christian McCaffrey. You have Gardner Minshew driving the keys of the car with A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, and now Dallas Goedert coming off of IR. And then Miles Sanders, who has over 1,000 yards and double-digit touchdowns this season. I feel like Gardner Minshew can just drive that car effectively enough in what's supposed to be a high-scoring game to give you a solid floor. We've seen him. Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead, Dave.
I think at this point, I was just going to say, I think at this point, if you're looking for the safest play, I would probably go Minshew. If you're looking for like the highest ceiling play, I might argue it still might be Minshew if everything goes right with that offense. I feel like he answers a lot of questions here. We've seen enough of Brady to know that, especially not in a necessarily the best matchups, he's not going to win you anything. Road Jared Goff is off the table, I think, for all of us. And Brock Purdy, I think, is a better real life quarterback than fantasy quarterback. So I think we're both Minshew, Brad, and it sounds like you're leaning towards a little bit towards more Brady, Mike.
Yeah, and I understand it's not the fun pick either. Brady's been kind of boring. I mean, for the last 5 weeks, he's put up, and we're talking about 6-point passing touchdown leagues. He's been putting up more safer lines. Like I think at least 20 points in 4 of the last 5 weeks. So it's not a sexy pick. It's not a fun pick. Minshew it's Minshew mania, man. I get it. I have a hard time. We're talking about a week 16 game, and the guy has given, like you mentioned, he's given the keys. It's almost being given the keys to a Corvette to a first-time driver. He hasn't driven this offense at all yet. Is he going to be on the same page as his receivers? I know he's a veteran, but I have a hard time thinking that he could just step in and be that effective. I'll gladly eat crow and be wrong, and I'll take the L on this for sure if I am wrong. I don't feel comfortable taking that gamble in my fantasy semifinals. If this was like week 13, week 14, even something leading into the playoffs, I needed some upside, sure, but I have a hard time taking that type of gamble at this point. Maybe I'm playing it too safe, I'm aware, but I don't know. I feel like there's no safety. I feel like the safety there isn't there for me, in my opinion.
Minshew is certainly a mystery box. I'll give you that. But the way I look at it is Brady has demonstrated that his floor over the past, 4 or 5 weeks is like 20 points. It's very low. His ceiling is 20 points. So I just, if Minshew, if you're going for the playoffs, this is your last shot. I tend to go higher variance, higher ceiling plays, because at the end of the day, like, it only takes one great matchup for your opponent to beat you. So it's all higher ceiling for me. Usually that means rolling with your studs, but Tom Brady hasn't really been a fantasy stud this year.
He's not a stud. I'll give you that. And I do think it's closer than maybe I give it credit. I've had a hard time adjusting to taking somebody who just we haven't seen anything. It's just a gamble. And I think I'm just risk adverse. I think I'm just risk adverse is what that is. I'm playing scared. Right. And you know what playing scared does? It loses. So maybe you shouldn't listen to me.
No, I mean, I think both are definitely the two best plays here. For those, again, referencing Gardner Minshew last year, played in 2 games, combined to throw 4 touchdowns and 1 interception over those 2 games.
Average AJ Brown.
Yeah, it averaged pretty much around like 215 passing yards per game between those 2 games. So again, it's like a 215-ish yard, 2 touchdowns, which you guys would probably take that, I'm sure, in this situation.
As long as he's running.
He had 9 carries between those 2 games too. So
I truly believe his floor is like half of Hurts' production and his ceiling is like 70 to 80%. And to me, that's enough to roll the dice. But Mike is right. It's a risk.
Even if they don't need a quarterback, that they're picking up Gardner Minshew to block them from the Hurts owners this week, because they're that concerned that Minshew could actually do something. So for what it's worth, that's also something to consider. If Minshew's out there on your waiver wire and the Hurts manager is someone you're playing against, to pick up Gardner Minshew just to not give your opponent the possibility to have access to what could be in that box, which could be 80% of Jalen Hurts.
That's exactly what I'm doing this week. I actually faced the Hurts manager, and I'm making some tough cuts because it's the semifinals. I'm the 4th seed playing the 1st seed, and I'm trying to pick up as many quarterbacks as possible, hoping that, like, A, I get the one he wants, and then B, I get all the other ones he wants, or at least most of them, leaving him stuck with like Zach Wilson types. You know what I mean? That's what I'm going for.
Yeah.
Although Zach Wilson managed to surprise I don't know. He sucks. Pisses me off that he did good. Well, good.
Yeah,
I said good.
It'll be a fun Thursday night game this week, which
Oh,
I guess
yeah.
we can get to, and we can talk about the Thursday night game, and then if more questions and other stuff come along, we can talk about that. But we also didn't have the waiver wire show last night, so we can talk about guys, being picked up too if those questions get asked. But I want to share the Thursday night betting screen. This is courtesy of FanDuel. We don't have John to do our disclaimer, so just know you have to gamble responsibly here. But we have Jacksonville.
Don't ever bet more than you can afford to lose, folks.
That's exactly right. We have Jacksonville going to the New York Jets. The over or under, ladies and gentlemen, you're guessing 37.5. That's as low an over under as I think I've seen all season. It's supposed to be in the New York Jets, New York Giants area-ish, and it's going to be pretty sloppy here on the East Coast Thursday, pretty much all across the country all this week later in the week, but right around that Thursday to Friday, it's going to be like a monsoon out here. So
yeah,
wet game, Zach Wilson at quarterback at home. This is not going to be pretty, ladies and gentlemen. I don't ever bet the under, but if I were ever considering betting the under on something, I would be at this game. Are you guys with me? 37.5. You going under on that?
Go ahead.
100% for me. Yeah, I the way I look at it is I don't trust Zach Wilson farther than I can throw him, to be honest. He had a decent game last week, but a lot of his production was off of like these Hail Mary throws where he was just throwing it up there and somehow, magically it landed in the receiver's hands. Garrett Wilson's a beast, but going against, these weather conditions and Zach Wilson, I just don't really want to touch the Jets offense. And the Jets defense is so solid that I'm not confident that Trevor Lawrence and ETN and Christian Kirk, they're going to be able to move the ball on the Jets because no team has really been able to do it this year thus far. They probably have the best secondary in the entire league right now. So I'm probably happily taking the under.
I agree with you. Mike, I want you to give us your over-under call and then also start us answering this question. You got to sit one from Jose here. Ezekiel Elliott, James Conner, or Zonovan Knight. Full PPR, you can sit one. Who's it going to be?
All right. Well, the over-under, I'm with you guys. Like you said, this is a tough under to bet on just because it's so low. But man, the weather conditions, we have to see what the weather conditions are. Obviously, just like, everyone overreacted to the Bills Miami one. If the weather conditions aren't as bad as we're expecting, this changes, and I'm sure the line will shift as well. But as of right now, as expected, and again, I'm with you, Zach Wilson. I'm full fade. Here, I'd have to look more into that, but it goes back to going back to fading that offense. And I think just based on the fact that I don't trust anything that has Zach Wilson involved, I'm gonna have to maybe sit Knight. I guess I don't like that. I don't like having to sit him, but I feel like that's where you have to go.
I agree with you. On a short week, 100%. He missed some of the game with injury last week. Michael Carter got more snaps. I think it's a scary proposition to sit Ezekiel Elliott or James Conner over Zonovan Knight this week. So I think we're all with you on that one, Mike. And Jesus says, how far can you throw Zach Wilson for research purposes?
I can't throw him at all, Jason.
Can't throw him at all. Yeah. Sure. I wish we could throw a football. That'd be nice. So we all are on the under for the 37.5 for the total for that game.
I'll tell you
what.
I might even. I don't know what the anytime touchdown odds are.
I'm gonna pull that up in a
second. If it's juicy enough, I would love to take a Jets defensive touchdown. Sprinkle a little bit of
a Jets or a Jags.
Both.
Jets defensive touchdown.
A Jets defensive touchdown. Not the Jags with Zach Wilson there.
No, because
here's the problem. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Mike.
I was going to say the problem with betting against Zach Wilson is that it's not that he'll throw an interception. It's that he throws the ball just where no one's at. You can't throw an interception if you can't throw it near the defenders either. It's just wild, that's really all it is with Zach Wilson. It's just like I was watching the game last week, and there were some times when he was on the money, but most of the time it was like clearly just sailing over everyone or almost threw a pick, but defenders couldn't get it. So that's where it's at. It's like, I don't know. I understand. Maybe you should bet against that. Maybe you should bet against. That's what I'm saying. Both defenses could score this game, and I wouldn't be surprised if it was a low-scoring game where defense kind of wins it and probably scores some points.
Is the Jags at minus 1.5?
On top of that,
too much.
On top of that, the bad weather. You never
fumble
anything
recovery.
Could happen, really. Fumble recovery. Trevor Lawrence has been a turnover machine, as great as he's been. So I feel really comfortable with either of these defenses, but Jets in particular are stout against everybody.
Now I have a question.
Or
What do
you
you
like
guys
the
do
minus
with Zay
1.5
Jones?
for the Jags?
Oh,
I mean, he was 3 touchdowns last week and knocked some of us out of the playoffs because of that. I mean, if you have him, I feel like you have to start him at this point.
I mean,
Right?
it's hard
I mean,
not to.
It is
You gotta-
hard not to, but if you have a comparable backup, I'm starting that. Like this game is just going to be so ugly.
It really is.
It's
So
just so hard. I mean, we're talking the worst week for Zay Jones in the last 5 weeks. He had 7 targets and only 2 receptions. That was the game where Lawrence went down at the half and then he came back in, which we all thought he was actually really injured. But it's been at least 8 targets, at least 6 receptions in like those 4 out of the 5 weeks. The yards are there. The touchdowns have shown up last 2 weeks. Obviously, you can't bank on touchdowns, though. They're kind of fluky for the most part, but obviously, he's looking his way now. Jones is a tough sit, but I do agree. It comes down to the weather, but I still think it's going to be hard to. I'm trying to think of who I rather. And it's like, I'd have to get some names thrown my way, but Zay Jones is still very much, at the very least, in the flex conversation.
what's up, Chris? Thanks for checking in and hanging with us.
What's up, Chris?
Sorry,
I've never actually been a start your studs guy. I've always been a matchup guy. I'm out of the playoffs right now, so maybe that says enough. But
listen, between me and you, like, you take the risk on Minshew, I'll take Brady, but I'll start my studs, and you're like the two of us. I think there's a happy medium here between the two of us right now.
Or it'll just be Jared Goff that goes off, and we'll both be wrong.
Oh, definitely. Jared Goff and DJ Shark, 2 guys you're sitting this week. Yeah,
definitely DJ Shark for sure.
Plus 650 for the Jets defense. I would have preferred something like plus 1,000, but
I know the lines are
plus 650 is even showing how they're looking at this, because that's really short odds for a defense to score.
What up, Rig? Man, we missed you last week. Glad you're here. Hope you're having a great holiday season. It's our guy. So I haven't scrolled down to the Jags yet. I was wondering where the Jags is going to be.
That's probably going to be a better value.
It's plus 700, so it's pretty comfortable. Is like once we get to the 1,000 plus JaMychal Hasty. So if anything happens to Travis Etienne, JaMychal Hasty is at plus 1,000.
Maybe you could take a punt return or a kickoff return. I don't know who the returner is, but that could be a sneaky anytime play.
Dan Arnold, if something happens to Evan Ingram, 2,400. I mean, these odds are like the
player
Thursday night odds,
man. You could talk yourself into any player prop, anyone.
I know.
I've seen you do it. I've seen you do it, Mendy.
I love them, man. Like I don't usually bet lines. I don't bet lines.
You struck pretty good this year on that. Who was it? Greg Dulcich, was it?
Greg Dortch won me one. Hunter Henry won me a good one. And then I nearly won a 10K one the other day that Slayton is down by 20 yards. Darius Slayton will forever be banned from any money of mine.
Slayton.
20 yards missing out on 10K, man. It was
you should have bet on Richie James. I don't know what his line was.
I should have just bet on Dotson because I had his anytime touchdown, and I just didn't use his yardage prop because I thought it might be like a goal line touchdown. So Chris does ask, can he pick up Trevor Lawrence to play Thursday in the rain, or possibly Minshew, Purdy, Carr, or Rodgers to wait out until Saturday in case Hurts is actually healthy by then? I don't think Jalen Hurts plays
Minshew or Rodgers, to be honest.
Is it simple enough where we just say pick up Gardner Minshew, and then if Hurts plays, you play Hurts, and if he doesn't, you play Minshew? Because I feel like that's where I would lean here.
100%.
That's kind of the answer.
It's looking like he might even play.
That's what I'm saying. You have whichever quarterback, and then if we get news by Saturday he's not going to play, then you got the backup who's very capable of being stable enough. I would like Lawrence the best here, but the only problem is that rain, I think, is going to literally be one of those games. It's like a 9-6 game. I'm really concerned it turns out that way. So I can't play Trevor Lawrence this week.
Do they have an alternate total on there?
Let me see. An alternate total.
I would love to see what like a 20
alternate total points.
You guys already know what's going to happen. We're going to get full faded on Thursday night, and not like in a good way. We're going to like, not like we're getting drunk and partying because we were right. No, like we're going to see like a shootout, like a 35-42 shootout.
Oh my God.
And Wilson's going to go off for like 4 touchdowns, all passing.
Yep.
But somehow Garrett Wilson will do nothing. Like
would you guys bet on 9.5 on under 9.5 for plus 8,000?
8,000. That's the kind of juice that I'm talking about.
Holy moly. You could still get under 11.5. Look at that, man. Plus 4,000 at 13.5.
What did you say, Mendy? 9-6?
9 to 6, so it'd be 15
All right,
points.
let's look at 16 or 15.
So I mean, 15.5 is plus 3,000.
3,000.
What's under 30 even? Like under 30, I feel like you're still gonna get really solid odds. Giving away 7.5 points. You might get not as good as I was hoping.
29.5 plus
No.
290.
What's,
No, 'cause
what's 25 and a half for 600?
Oh,
I
there you
like
go.
that.
25.5 plus 600.
That's
So
Under
that's even
20.
that's
I
that's
could-
assuming 3 touchdowns.
I like
and
that
a
15
field
and a
goal.
half. I kind of like that. Plus
That's
3,000.
it's interesting. That's where the over starts as well. 15
Yeah,
and a
that's
half.
kind of funny. Rick says Mike White not ready to practice yet. He should be starting if he's back after 1 week. They already ruled him out for this week, I believe. I don't even
They
think he. Yeah. So like, it's crazy he went back into that game and he's been ruled out the next 2 weeks after.
Yeah, basically he could have punctured a lung, like they
Yeah.
need the rib to set. So I have the cold take that I believe all sports doctors are bad doctors. Like anybody that clears any athlete to play with the kind of injuries they get, I don't know. That's not doing no harm to me, but that's a
We could see
personal
that.
take.
We could see that. I mean, when he got bent in half like a folding chair, like
Yep.
why is he out there? And it happened like 3 separate times in the same game.
Those guys
And
are gladiators.
And Rick says, Brad, I would stay away from Jets D this week. Trevor is hot. He might torch Jets this week.
All right, he's on the other side of our unders. This is what
But I
makes
feel like
a market,
you and Rigged always have good head to heads. I need to know what like
We
the who's won more. We should got to keep track
Our
of.
brains
I was
are
gonna say
working
if this is a
the
common
opposite
occurrence
way.
starting next year, keep a tally, keep a running tally.
Rigged in our
Rick
Discord
beat
had
me
like
in our.
Evie Junior. What?
I was gonna say Rick beat me in our fantasy league this year, so he's got the head to head so far.
Yeah.
Rick always coming here with some good takes.
He does.
This game's gonna be ugly. I think that the fun part now is deciding if we want to go under 15.5 points or not for plus 3,000 odds.
I do like those odds, but that's a very. I don't know. I'd have to see what the. I almost want to bet now because as the weather comes, the forecast comes closer, and it starts to
gonna
look
go
worse
down.
and worse. Those odds are
Yeah.
going to go down.
That's why I'm like, I mean, for those that don't know, plus 3,000, 10 wins $300. So $10 to throw at it can win you 300. If you're really ballsy and throw 100, you could win $3,000.
I
I mean,
tell you
that's
what,
pretty.
the 11 and a
crazy.
half really looks good.
I don't know. That 11 and a half is going really ballsy. Plus 8,000.
Is it though? Is it really? Like if you think the Jets are horrible in a bad weather game, yeah,
That's a 9 to that's a 9 to
it's
3. That's a 6 to 3 game.
essentially 6-3, and it's also in a game where we're calling a potential defensive touchdown. So it's probably way too low. Plus 8,000 is that's
Yeah.
kind of sucker odds there, but it's juicy.
It really is. And Riggs says, I'm with you, Brad. NFL team Dockers paid under the table. Probably is, honestly.
Or they're part of the fix. Like, okay, well, we'll let them back in, knowing that they're going to lose the game now because we need to get this line covered.
That's
Uh-huh.
right. I mean, who would say there's something with that Patriots game because that touchdown took the Patriots money
That was
line went
absurd.
away.
The
That was going to be my
non-touchdown game.
wow moment.
Yeah, we didn't even get to your wow. I'm sorry, Brad.
No, we just brought it up. But I'm curious, another wow moment I would have had is kind of how Tua's looked the last 2 weeks. Mike, you're a Dolphins fan, I think. So I'm curious, what you make of it. It looks to me that he is one of the most accurate quarterbacks in the league when the pocket is clean, but when he's under pressure, that's when it starts to get a little iffy, and he's not even making progressions past Tyreek Hill because we're seeing like Waddle get 2 catches. So I'm curious what you're making of it since you're watching a little closer.
That's pretty much what I'm seeing. Not to mention he can't hit a deep ball for his life. You see these big catches are like intermediate throws, maybe maybe some deep-ish, but he'll underthrow them and then Hill will just make that play, or Waddle will make that play. That he did, like he dropped a beautiful ball into Hill's hands in the end zone last week. That was one of those like medium throws. It's like not quite deep pass. But in the Waddle play, Waddle was just kind of wide open over the middle, and he just kind of hit him, but wasn't even fully in stride, at least from what I thought I saw. So it's like that's where he comes up short. Is like, yeah, sure, he can crush those short passes. He has great accuracy. He can even throw on the run. He just can't, like, that downhill game isn't his strength. He's very fortunate to have two receivers that are some of the best playmakers in the game right now. And
They need to
it's
line
not that
up
he's a bad.
Mostert.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's fast.
Yeah, we do. This offense is electric, but I feel like it's almost in spite of Tua, in a sense, because Tua is a good quarterback. He feels like a Alex Smith type, but just has the weapons, and
That's a good comparison.
that's kind of where I see him. I see that type of game manager that, but he has weapons that can kind of take him over the top, and he's not afraid to throw the deep ball compared to Alex Smith. So there's a little difference there, obviously. But the issue is I'm sure you've seen it. We've seen massive underthrows, or it's underthrown just a little bit where the receiver can make the catch. So I feel like that's all we see, though. We never see him overthrow. I've never seen him overthrow anyone. I don't think he can.
I think you guys are definitely going to stick with Tua next year. But if you were not, who would be a comfortable upgrade for you?
Who's available? To be honest, I don't even know the free agent class next year or the.
I think. What are you going to say, Dave?
Obviously, I think I can't see being they're a free agent that's an upgrade unless you view like Derek Carr, who's a free agent this year.
You give Carr weapons and he still doesn't know what to do with them. So no, I don't want that.
Would you want Garoppolo?
I think he's worse than Tua.
I think I don't think there's much of a difference there, to be honest, either. With depending on the system, because we know Garoppolo could probably run the system well. Yeah, that's what we see. We see Garoppolo running systems. No, I think Brady. That's a good one because Brady is a free agent. I don't know, man.
He's going to the Niners, I think.
But we're also seeing what Brady. That makes the most sense, probably. But we're also seeing what Brady's doing with weapons this year. I don't know what better weapons are going to do for him. He's obviously past his prime at this point too. I think I'm going to stick with Tua. I do think Tua is a solid quarterback. He's definitely in the top half. It's just that one of those things where he lacks that it factor. He doesn't have like. And honestly, back when we were going for Deshaun Watson before the whole Watson issues and all that, Watson is the type of quarterback where you give him good Watson. Obviously, he's been trashed since he returned, but that type of quarterback where he has the arm, the accuracy, and all this. That's obviously something that's once in a lifetime type of quarterback you find. Again, pre his issues and pre all that, and that's the type of fit. That's the type of fit that we would like, but that's not. We can't find that. That's not something you just find off the waiver wire anymore. And
last
was going to trade that.
Would you take a rocket arm quarterback that can run like an Anthony Richardson, but is a rookie?
See, no, I can't take a rookie. Give me Tua because I think we're too built to win now. We're too built to win now. We're trading away our assets too in terms of draft picks. We are built to win now, and we're signed. Yeah, no, give me Tua. I'd rather have the veteran arm and another year in the system. Arm strength can still be. I mean, he's still young enough where arm strength can still be picked up on too. I feel like not like it could be massively improved, but a little bit of off-season conditioning. Why can't it get a little better, right?
Yeah.
Brady to your Niners. You would love that. I know you would. I did want to say with the water bet though. Are we good for that for this week? Mike going with Brady and me and Brad on Minshew and see who can take that water bet.
I like that.
Oh man, I'm not terribly confident in the pick. I'm playing it safe, and you guys get the fun ceiling. I'm almost rooting for you. I don't know what the water bet is, but I'm almost rooting against myself here.
Come over to the dark side.
Tua's getting the bag. McDaniels loves him. Is that true, Mike? Does McDaniels love Tua? It seems like he does based on how he talks to him.
Yeah, McDaniels. I feel like McDaniels just loves everybody, though. Isn't it? Like that's kind of like I love that guy, man. I'm so happy we got him as head coach. I was actually a little upset at the firing of Flores, but not anymore. Like at first I was like, why did we fire him? And then we got McDaniels. I'm like, oh, okay. And now I really like how I've seen him as a coach, and he's a player's coach too. Like you don't get that these days.
The ceiling on the team is a lot higher with McDaniels' offense than it was with Flores' defense.
Oh, absolutely. Sure. But the thing was I didn't see us actually. When's the last time Miami had a head coach? You're like, wow, that's a good fit. I was playing it safe. This is like Minshew and Brady all over again. I was afraid of what the future held for Miami because all we do is fail.
Which position group do you want for Miami, Mike? Or do you worry about the front, the line, or the secondary for their defense?
I mean, their secondary's been getting smoked all year. Feels like.
Yeah, but Brian Jones, right? Is there a corner? He's been out all year. He was one of their high-priced free agent ads a couple of years ago.
And you see what this offensive line looks like with Terry and Armstead not at 100%.
Oh my God, it's a whole different team. I do want to real quick run
The
through before we
pain,
get out of here.
the pain.
Run through the I want to go through the spreads real quick, and you guys just give me which one you want to close out the show. Giants plus 3.5 in Minnesota. You taking Giants or Vikings?
This feels like a
Giants.
trap. Yeah, this feels like a trap bet either way. Why the Giants? I can't. They suck so bad.
They
So
do
you don't
they're-
like it.
but the
They're a bigger fraud than the Vikings. Like
The Vikings use up all their magic last week.
No, but the Giants they made the playoffs. Like what? What?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm gonna lay the points, but I'm not confident. But I'm gonna take it's the home team with the points. I'll lay the points.
I'm with the Vikings on that one. Saints at Browns. Saints are 2.5-point underdogs. Brad, Saints or Browns?
I'll take the Browns with the points on that one.
Yeah.
They are the over under this game is 31.5. That is unreal.
How's the
my
weather
God.
there? Cleveland's got to be.
I might
ugly
take
this
that
week,
under too.
That's please. I don't want red zone going to that game at all. I
don't
think
think it
I will
will.
take. I think I'll take the Saints in this one.
Boo.
These lines are so close to you. I don't even.
Yeah.
That you look at the odds like minus. It's practically even money.
Give me the at that point. Give me the home team. That's how I look at it. You know.
How about
That's how me
Detroit?
too.
Detroit Lions 2.5-point favorites at Carolina. I think 2.5 for the Panthers here, or for the Lions is too juicy.
I would have thought too. I would have thought it would be like 6 or 7. For
That's
the
what I'm
Lions.
saying. I
I
love
definitely
that.
like the lines.
I'm with you guys, but it's a trap. Like we all know it's a trap.
Yeah.
Bengals 3.5-point favorites at New England. I'm taking Cincinnati.
Yeah, dude. I'm
Home
with you.
underdogs.
I'm
Home
gonna say, yeah.
underdogs. I don't
New
know.
York Giants are no fraud. They beat the Commanders the best D, according to Brad. I heard.
I don't think I said that.
I don't know. Riggs is a good memory. I feel like maybe you could have said that early in the season with their line or something.
No, maybe earlier in the season I might have said something like that. But it's definitely the Broncos and 49ers this year.
Yeah. So I said went Bengals. Where'd you guys go?
I'm with you, Bengals.
I think I'll go Bengals as well.
Buffalo 8.5-point favorites at Chicago. Chicago just played the Eagles tough last week. I think actually I'm gonna take the Bears here.
Too many points for the Bears. I'm taking the Bears.
I'm with you guys. Bears at home. Plus, again, if the weather's bad, I feel like that always gives up. Well, never mind. The Bills play in bad weather too, but I'm gonna take the Bears at home after what we saw last week.
The Houston Texans 5.5-point dogs at Tennessee. Derrick Henry has had over 210 yards in 4 straight games against the Houston Texans, 9 touchdowns over those 4 games. I'm really curious to see what his player props are going to be when they come out. I'm taking the Titans here, and I'm taking the points, 5.5 for the Titans.
This Texans team has been a nuisance over the past 2 weeks, keeping up with the Chiefs and the Cowboys. I think I might take 5.5 on the Texans.
Oh, I'm gonna take the Titans. I can't bet on the Texans are alternating quarterbacks like mid-game. Like who does that? This isn't like Wildcat stuff. It blows my mind that this is happening in 2022. But I can't bet on a team doing that ever.
Rigged has Pats taken down the Bengals this week. You heard it there first. I haven't seen that yet, so that Rigged got that inside scoop there. Seattle Seahawks 9.5-point dogs at Kansas City. I'm actually taking the Seahawks here with the points. The Chiefs play with their food too much, and it's going to be a close game, I think, till the end of the fourth quarter.
I can't lay that many points. As much as I want to, I can't lay that many points, even with Tyler Lockett out. Which, by the way, if you want to talk about Revive real quick, Marquise Goodwin's obviously the next man up there. And talk about splash upside, big time. If you want to take a shot in deeper league, great. That's the guy I would go for because they got somebody. I mean, it's going to be, it's likely to be a shootout. Just makes sense.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%. Next one, Falcons 7.5-point dogs at Baltimore. I think I'm taking the Falcons here.
I think Lamar might be back this week, though.
Is he?
I don't know that it's certain, but he's been week to week, and I think he's getting close. I might take the Ravens at 7.5 before the Lamar news comes in. Maybe hedge it.
I'm trying to find if there's anything. Oh, of course, I looked it up real quick and I picked up the Bears, Lamar Jackson. Didn't realize that was a thing.
That's funny.
He was waived.
That's like the Bears, Adrian Peterson.
Yeah, there it is. I just want to get some actual news here because I know we saw he didn't practice today. But the Stars are getting days off on Tuesdays this week, so that's
Yeah.
sweet. So it was just something worth mentioning. Yeah, you guys, I'm not gonna pick that game. I'm chickening out. That's a tough one. I don't.
Okay.
Don't blame you.
I don't blame you. Next one, Commanders at Niners. Niners 7.5-point favorites. I will take the Niners here.
Yeah.
I think I'll take the Niners too.
By the half a point. Come on, just by the half a point. But yeah, I'll take them regardless.
Eagles with right now it looks like Gardner Minshew. That's why Dallas is 5.5-point favorites. If Gardner Minshew starts, I think I will take the Eagles here.
I actually think the Eagles win this game.
It's the Cowboys. All they know how to do is disappoint. Yeah, I'm with you. Eagles.
Yeah.
All right, we're on our I think this is one of our last games. The Raiders at Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh are 2.5-point favorites. I think the Raiders actually win this game, so I'm going to go with Vegas.
Yeah. Steelers are
I'm with you on that.
Although I mean, Trubisky's not in this week, right? What's his face is back. But
Yeah.
still,
I don't think it matters.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I know. I'm trying to give reasons for optimism, but I'm with you guys. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Is that it? Is that the last game?
I think it is.
Packers at Dolphins, but that's I think next week.
That's next.
Did we already?
No. No. I'm sorry.
We didn't.
still
Yeah,
have
we
two
didn't
more.
get that. I was like, we haven't talked to the Dolphins yet.
All right, Packers and Dolphins. Dolphins 4.5-point favorites. Give me the Dolphins here.
Dolphins at
At
home.
home.
I think I'm taking the Packers. Tua does not look good with pressure. I think that's the key.
All
We'll
right.
just keep
then
everything
next,
short and over the middle.
Denver Broncos
Yeah.
at Rams. Ugly versus ugly. This game is atrocious too. Broncos are
Take the under.
2.5-point favorites here. Take the unders. Don't even
take
bet
the-
on.
I'm
this
taking
game.
the Broncos. I'm taking the Broncos just because we just got actually word that just came out while we're recording. The center Brian Allen and Ben Skowronek. I always mess up his name.
Ben Skowronek.
They're both out for the rest of the season with calf strains.
Is
Oh,
Russ
wow.
back this week?
I'll take the Broncos.
I think Russ is back this week too. That's the big thing.
Yeah, Broncos
think.
then.
All right. Tampa Bay at Arizona. Tampa Bay 6.5-point favorites. I will take Tampa Bay, especially if it's third string quarterback here for the Cardinals, which is, I believe, oh my God, it's
a cool name.
Trace McSorley. Trace McSorley.
Yeah, McSorley. Yeah, that's why. And it
Former
goes back to
Lamar
hey,
back up.
I'm chasing Brady. I'm chasing Brady. I'm telling you, it's redemption week. He has to make a point that he's not washed. I'm telling you.
Last game, Chargers at the Colts. Chargers 3.5-point favorites. I will take the Chargers.
Yeah, that's a small line for them. I'll take the Chargers.
Yeah, definitely with you guys.
All right. Well, we just ran through all the games. We looked at the spreads. Those will obviously change from now until Sunday. We are recording on Tuesday, but that's how we're looking at it right now. If you guys are enjoying the betting content, the fantasy content, answering questions, and all of the above, make sure you guys follow the show on Twitter at Trip Play Fantasy. Make sure you follow me at DMendio2 and our guy Brad, who, when he does go on Twitter, drops some good knowledge at Sir Bradley K. Mike, thank you for coming on the show tonight, dude, because this is the first time talking football, I think, on here. I'm pretty sure. But obviously people can hear you got tons of knowledge. Please, again, plug the great stuff you're doing for Getting the Edge, The Athletic, everything you're doing right now, Twitter handle, all the stuff so people know.
Well, of course, you can check me out on Twitter at Mike_Curland. And again, the YouTube, Gaining the Edge YouTube is where I do most of my football content right now. And the video just, it's going live in 10 minutes. So perfect. So 7:30 Eastern Tuesday. So if you're listening to this later, it's live now. Live for you to go check it out. But yeah, I drop a lot of stuff there, fantasy football wise. Obviously on Twitter, you can ask me your questions. I'll get to them right away. I'm actually always on there because I have an addiction. Gaining the Edge. Otherwise, though, fantasy baseball focused. If you're into fantasy baseball or you're thinking about getting into it, hit us up on Twitter. We'll gladly answer your questions there too. Because that's there's a way to transition into baseball. I promise you, baseball is not as boring as people make you think it is. It can be fun. Come over to football's the dark side. Come over to the bright side of things, football Twitter, man, that's something else. But anyway, yeah, appreciate you guys having me on. It's a lot of fun. First time I've been nervous to be on a podcast in a long time. And it's because I'm out of my element, dude. Football isn't football is not my first thing, so it's like I have to get my sea legs. So I appreciate you letting me be on. And I got a chance to be nervous for the first time in a while.
You were a natural, man. You didn't show it.
I'm just a talker, dude. I could talk my way. I could BS my way out of anything pretty much these days.
Rig, man, we want to say Merry Christmas to you too. Season's great. Rig, you're one of the best parts of Triple Play, your engagement and hanging out with us each week. So Merry Christmas to you. Blessings to your family. Want to get you
Rig,
on the show one day.
I was gonna say, Rigged, I don't know you. First time, obviously, seeing you in the chat and all that. But honestly, man, people like you are what make live streaming and this fantasy stuff amazing. Like, we appreciate people like you so much. So I know they're thankful, but I want you to know that they're serious. Like, this isn't, they're not blowing smoke. Your interaction and your level of commitment to watch and all that means so much to all of us. Like, stuff like that is just awesome. So I say
really
thank you
does.
on behalf of them too.
He's an A1 day one. I'm gonna buy him one of these days. I got to buy him some gear. I'm gonna send some gear to his house.
That's a great idea.
But I want to get him on a show first one day. He's been dodging coming on.
He won't do it. He won't come on.
Rigged, I want to get you on here. And yeah, I got to get
I
Mike
respect
in
that. He
in the
likes to stay
Discord.
behind the scenes. We'll just
He
send him
does.
stuff and let him hang out.
Rigged, drop us in the Discord. Send myself or Brad a private message and give us your address because I'm gonna send you a couple some swag for the holidays. Appreciate all
Maybe
your
that hat David's wearing.
that hat. Maybe got the sweatshirts. I was all geared out today, and yeah, Rigged, man, you're the man. Everybody that tunes in every single week, we appreciate you guys. Make sure you guys subscribe to the YouTube channel. Make sure you guys are following on Twitter. Make sure you guys are just being active in the fantasy sports space because, to be honest, it's escape away from reality. That's why we love it so much. Jobs, family, whatever it is that's causing stress at that moment, it's kind of a nice escape for you. So appreciate you guys spending some time with us each and every week. But for that, have a Merry Christmas. Have a happy holidays, whatever you celebrate. We'll be back with you guys next Tuesday to do the fantasy finals. But until then, we're going to make like a bread truck and we're going to haul these buns. Talk to you guys next week.